Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Sydney Moore alongside Eric and Tanya. Hello to the both of you.
Tuesday.
I know.
Tuesday.
One day closer to Friday, my friends. That's how you look at it.
That is a
true,
great
too.
way
Check
to
it
look
out.
at it.
And a beautiful day, too.
Yeah, we've got, this is fall weather for the rest of the work week. It's the weekend that's in question with some rain, and we'll talk about that coming up.
All right, looking forward to that. Well, we begin our top story of the day. Mold discovered at another Triad school just this morning. Guilford County Schools shared a message to parents from Southern Elementary's principal about the mold.
Yeah, the mold was found in the school's media center. WFMY News 2's Hannah Jeffries has more details on what comes next.
That's right, guys. Guilford County Schools says all of the books must be removed from the library after mold was found inside the media center at Southern Elementary School. A GCS spokesperson sent us a message today in regards to the mold. That same message was sent to Southern Elementary parents last week. The message says a slightly elevated level of mold was found in the media center. In response to this situation, the school's maintenance department hired an independent contractor to clean. They say the library will stay closed this week while crews clean up the mess. Parent Avelina Hernandez says she didn't get the message from the principal, but wants the school system to make sure they get it all before sending the kids back into the library.
I think that they should take care of it as soon as possible, just to keep not just my kids, but all of the kids safe and healthy. Before they open it again for the students, they should make sure it is completely gone.
The message sent to parents also says that the school system will replace all of the books in the media center, but that process could take months. In the meantime, they say they have over 7,000 titles in their ebook library. We requested interviews from multiple people within the school system, which they denied.
Hannah, thank you. That's not the only thing happening with GCS. Johnson Street Global Study sent students home early today because of AC issues. The district also canceled classes and after-school activities because of the issue. Students are expected to return to the classroom tomorrow. This comes almost 1 week after HVAC issues closed Triangle Lake Montessori for a day and forced students at Western Guilford to learn remotely. Earlier this month, GCS responded to multiple reports of issues with HVAC units across the district. They said when an HVAC unit breaks, the district can decide to bring in temporary equipment, including fans and portable air conditioning units, until the problem is fixed.
In the meantime, Alamance Burlington Schools still trying to move past its mold and HVAC issues. The discovery of mold and widespread problems delayed the start of school by weeks. Just last night, the district and county leaders agreed on a plan to prevent future cases like this from happening. Let's take a look. Commissioners voted to hire engineers to inspect the conditions of all roofs and HVAC systems in every ABSS building. The school district also asked for permission to hire one maintenance expert for each one of the 41 buildings. Commissioners also voted to expedite contract bids for a roofing and HVAC assessment. They're hoping they can report those results in the coming weeks.
As we talked about just a few moments ago, temperatures are really comfortable. Some of our morning lows in the 50s, daytime highs in those upper 70s, low 80s. We're seeing Burlington at 80 degrees right now, Greensboro 77, Winston-Salem 78, and High Point 79 for the foothills. Mount Airy at 75, North Wilkesboro in the upper 70s also. So tonight, clear skies. It'll be cool again with morning lows around 56 and a high tomorrow close to 80. With plenty of sunshine. In fact, we see that for the next several days in a row. Look across the area. This is the satellite and radar combination. Yeah, you don't see a whole lot, do you? We have to go out to a really wide shot of the entire southeast to see any rain. Some in central and south central Florida, and then others back to the middle of the country there. But we're kind of in that sweet spot with the high pressure ridge in control, which will dominate our forecast for the next couple of days. Really, it's as we get closer to, say, Friday that we'll watch a system that could develop off our coast, a coastal low. Not necessarily tropical in nature, at least not yet. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but it could develop. The big question is how close to our coastline will this thing develop, and will it throw enough moisture back that we see the rain all the way back in central North Carolina instead of just in the eastern parts of the state. There's still a question mark with that, but we're watching, and for now we'll keep the rain chances in there for your Saturday, Sunday, and we bumped them up a little bit from what we were talking about this morning. We're up to about a 40 to 50%. That's for Saturday, first day of fall, and Sunday, and you see temperatures Temperatures until then, 80 for Wednesday, Thursday, 76 Friday, low to mid 70s for your weekend.
New developments in the deadly UNC Chapel Hill shooting. Taylor Chi made his first appearance in Superior Court today. He is accused in the deadly shooting of an associate professor last month. Now, Chi's lawyer says he received a mental health evaluation and an expert determined that Chi is not capable of proceeding with the trial. The court then ordered those results to be sealed, but did grant the state to conduct its own evaluation. Chi is now being transferred to a psychiatric hospital in Butner, where he will remain until the next court date, which is in November. Now, of course, this is a developing story. We have more coming up for you on WFMY News 2 at 5. Meanwhile, the Durham man accused of pointing a gun at a UNC student union worker is about to get out of jail. The Orange County District Attorney says Michael Harris did post bond, but he cannot leave jail because the county doesn't have enough ankle monitors for him. Officials say Harris will remain in jail until one is available. He's due back in court in a few weeks.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Family, friends, and colleagues gathered today to say their final goodbyes. A funeral was held this morning for Forsyth County Deputy Austin Rudel-Huber. The 32-year-old died on duty earlier this month. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough spoke at the service in Thomasville.
When I think about this man and the stories that I heard sitting at the house with his wife Rachel, and from meeting his father, his mother, all of his relatives, when he talks about the steps of a good man are ordered, I know that the steps of a good man are ordered just based on what was said. Not only did he serve Forsyth County, he served Davidson County, he served his country, he served his family.
After the funeral, a procession was led to the late deputy's final resting place at a cemetery in Salisbury. Flags across the state are also flying half-staff today to honor his life.
State lawmakers have delayed their vote on de-annexing land in Summerfield. Just last night, Mayor Tim Session held an emergency meeting with community members and came up with 3 resolutions to avoid separating the land. A local developer is trying to bring an apartment and retail space to the town, but community members are not on board with that. The vote for de-annexing the land is scheduled for tomorrow, but if the town and the developer can reach an agreement, it may not even be needed.
Adopted recommendations could bring more equity and inclusion to a Triad city. The High Point City Council reached an agreement with the One High Point Commission to reconcile racial disparities. The commission outlined 19 actions the city could make, including down payment assistance, a fair housing program, and better access to health care and internet. The city is now working on implementing these recommendations.
No need to take a trip to New York for the Broadway experience. All you got to do is swing by downtown Greensboro. Chicago, the musical kicks off the 2023-2024 Broadway season tonight at the Tanger Center. It is a universal tale of fame, fortune, and you know what? All that jazz. That's right. Chicago will be at the Tanger Center through Sunday. And it's a big night for the Tanger Center and theater goers alike. Tim Buckley, you just took a trip.
Yes. Lucky me, right?
Lucky you.
This was really cool. So you guys know the Tanger Center, they're launching their new season. This will be the 3rd Broadway season. So what they did a couple weeks ago now is they went up to kind of preview some of the shows that are coming here. So they took a couple folks along I was lucky enough to go with. We saw Moulin Rouge one day, and then the next day we saw the show 6. And I can't really tell you which one is better, but they're both really high energy. And it seems like every show on the list this year, including Chicago tonight, they're all really high level and really popular. So everyone's like really excited, I think, about the shows this year.
This is probably going to be a very hard question for you to answer, but what is your most probably favorite thing about visiting the Tanger Center overall?
Yeah, well, it's really cool to see how many people come out. I mean, you guys have maybe been to a show or two, but it just gets packed and you see all kinds of people. They're all enjoying the same thing, and it just brings that art to the Triad. I mean, when you go to New York and you see these performers, it's like, whoa. I don't even know people were this talented.
Yeah, right.
But then you get them in your backyard and they're just as talented here, which is really cool.
And the different amount of people coming from outside of Greensboro as well,
Sure.
too. We got folks coming from Charlotte and Raleigh and all those neighboring cities. It's nice, too.
It's the glamour of New York that we don't get a taste of until now, and now It's every year.
And I love that usually there is something for everyone, youngsters, you
Yeah.
know, to whatever age. And so that helps, you know, spur the whole thing of theater should be a thing that all of us enjoy.
A lot of the ones this year are movies. You've seen Aladdin before, you've seen Chicago before, you've seen Moulin Rouge. You kind of know what to expect, and they're going to be just the same.
And yet
even
they'll
more
surprise
special.
you.
That's
right?
true.
It'll be even more
You're
fantastic.
going to laugh and cry and be all happy.
That's what we want. We laughed, we cried.
We'll be right back.
We had popcorn.
National Hispanic Heritage Month is underway. The tradition annually celebrated from September 15th all the way to October 15th, and it recognizes the influence of Hispanic Americans to our history, our culture, and the achievements in the United States.
Today we are highlighting Jose Hernandez. He blasted into space aboard the space shuttle Discovery in 2009. His life story is now the inspiration behind the new film, A Million Miles Away.
He follows his journey from a migrant farm worker to astronaut. Dania Bacus spoke to Hernandez about his inspiring story.
Jose Hernandez always dreamed of being among the stars, but he never imagined he would become one.
I wanted to be an astronaut for selfish reasons. I wanted to go up in space and float in space and do what astronauts do up in space. Never did I think I would have a movie done of me.
The Stockton, California native's life story is the subject of the movie A Million Miles Away.
I want to be an astronaut.
The film follows him on a decades-long journey from a village in Michoacan, Mexico, to farm worker in California, to 200 miles above the Earth as an astronaut in the International Space Station. He says the dream didn't come without obstacles.
I realized that I had to work, 1.6, 1.7 times as hard to get the same recognition, and you could either do one thing. You could put a chip on your shoulder and complain about it, or you can just work 1.6, 1.7 as hard and keep moving forward, and that's what I chose to do.
He also didn't do it alone. The film highlights the sacrifices made by his parents, wife, and family to make sure his goal was accomplished, even after years of rejection. Movie star Michael Pena plays Hernandez in the film that is directed by Alejandro Marquez Abella.
Community, you have to work together in order to achieve anything. It's not an individual's success.
Hernandez hopes his story of being the first migrant farm worker in space breaks down barriers.
Hey, if he did this, why can't I reach my own dream? And so it kind of gives an empowering effect.
And he wants all to know the sky's the limit.
And of course, you can watch that a million miles away now on Prime Video. What I loved is that he said, you don't have to work twice as hard. Very astronaut-y. He said, you have to work 1.6, 1.7. You know?
Let me calculate all that.
He's a scientist.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to see this film. I think it's so awesome. And even seeing the kids at the end, I think this is great for them to look up to and see him pave this kind of way. It's amazing.
I mean, you think about, astronauts are scientists and pilots. And really, to some degree, kind of ambassadors for humanity. You know what I mean? So they do it all, and I think you have to be so talented, so smart, and so driven.
And so driven. When you think of all of the things that he was like, okay, this wasn't working, but now there was a way.
If you could go to space, would you go?
No.
No, neither one of
But
you?
I'll be cheering whoever goes up there from the ground.
I don't like flying, and I get through it my own way. But I would have to do that if somebody gave me a chance, because I can't imagine to look at the Earth like that.
But I love reading up on history and
I do
about
too.
space and all of those things. But I couldn't do it.
You might have to knock me out, but I want to go to space. We'll be right back. Well, we look at these readings and it's very fall-like, isn't it? It's so comfortable out here. For me, 70s, 50s, I love that, especially these upper 70s, close to 80. This is perfect weather. Yanceyville has 80 degrees right down the line there, north to south. Burlington 80, Siler City at 80. High Point bumped up to 80 degrees in the last half an hour, and Greensboro at 77. Most areas are between about 77 and 80, so comfortable. 56 for the low tonight. Clear skies. Tomorrow is a repeat. 80 degrees, lots of sunshine. In fact, we'll keep that for the next couple of days. Our rain really doesn't start to move in, even if we get it, because there's still a question mark with this. But on the weekend, we think there'll be a low pressure center that'll develop kind of off Florida, Georgia coast area and then start to move up the eastern seaboard. The question is, now, you know, it's hard to predict a system that hasn't even developed yet. So you don't have the physics with it that the mathematical models can kind of tell where it's going. But we think this will develop sometime on Friday, if not a little earlier. And then it's the Saturday, Sunday time period when we could see that low. You can see it here on the map as that starts to develop and move north. Will it be weaker and interact with land and then further inland so we'd get more rain, or will it be stronger and stay off the coast? That remains to be seen, but I think at this point we're going to bump our rain chances up for the weekend, unfortunately for both days, Saturday and Sunday. But until then, it's beautiful. Sunshine Wednesday, Thursday, low 80s, 76 on Friday. Rain chance Saturday, Sunday is a 40 to 50% chance, and we're back to the mid to upper 70s with a slight rain chance for Monday and Tuesday. Well, believe it or not, it has been 33 years since Mount Airy first launched its Mayberry Days Festival, and it is still going strong. The event brings in thousands of Andy Griffith Show fans from all over the world, literally, to experience a little piece of what that show has to offer. Everything from the famous Snappy Lunch pork chop sandwich, there it is, to character lookalikes. Organizers say they are never at a lack of people to guest star at the festival.
We have some faithfuls who've been with us for years, and they're coming back, like Karen Knotts, Ronnie Shell, but we also have some new folks. So Dan Roebuck is one. He came last year. That was his first year, and he's coming back this year. And we just added one of his shows, another show, because he sold out in the first run. So his show where he talks about working with Andy on Matlock. So we do have some new faces. Some of Andy's friends, of course, and then Opie's friends. So you kind of get into the secondary characters.
So it's interesting. So Don Knott's daughter, Karen Knotts, comes almost every year, and she's really a good storyteller, and she was a stand-up for a while, so she's got a good sense of humor. She talks a lot about the behind-the-scenes Don Knotts that most of us never got to see, and it's really interesting. And the event staff, I said, you know, what do you do as time goes on? That show debuted in 1960.
Yeah.
You know? And she said that when people say, what do you do when people stop watching, she laughs, because she said, and it's true, it has never not been on the air.
Wow.
Since 1960, when it debuted, it has aired somewhere every single year. And what is that, 63 years?
Wow. Crazy. And you have brand new fans, right? Because they're watching it with different generations and this, that, and the other.
And some people are so, and they're not like, I don't mean, there's always, you know, fanatics about certain shows.
Of course.
But even the average person in North Carolina can tell you their favorite episode or two.
Oh, sure.
You know, they might even know the real names.
Like you can tell us.
Opie the Birdman is my favorite episode.
Mine is the pickle one.
The pickle one?
Oh, Aunt Bee's
pickles.
Kerosene
Kerosene
yes.
pickles. You're going to have to
show.
find your own favorite.
Yeah, we're going to work on it. With
All right, I'll come back to that.
That's right. We'll be right back.
One Virginia teacher is taking a creative approach to his job. What we want you to do is check it out, because the elementary school teacher is bringing some entertainment to the classroom with educational raps in his lesson plan. He says it's already making a difference.
For kids to see that, oh, there's a teacher on YouTube, there's a teacher on Spotify, my teacher's on Apple Music and things like that.
Mr. Donnelly is making an impact in 5th grade with all of the educational raps he has made.
For kids to see the power of connecting across subjects. So I'm working on writing. How can I write music that also tells a story in what I'm learning in math or in science and things like that?
Students grew up with mnemonics like "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally" and "Never eat soggy waffles." So Donnelly wanted to give his students their own way of remembering the things they are learning in the classroom.
I just kind of wanted to flip it in my way, just a little bit, and add anything that I was thinking rap-wise to connect with kids.
To create the raps, it's really a team effort between Donnelly and his students. They work together to create something that is easy to memorize.
9 out of 10 times I'll take it to my kids and be like, so this is what I have so far. And they will be like, well, let's change this word, let's do this. What if we add this?
And Donnelly's class is working on something new, their order of operations rap.
Next is a step that we must rehearse. It's multiplication or division, whichever comes first, from left to right, like when we read a book.
While creating the raps is fun, Donnelly hopes other teachers can take away the impact music can have in the education world.
I want to kind of blend all of that together so kids see art everywhere. Now I know order of operations. Do you? Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
So this reminds me, in middle school, we had to come up with raps for a science project that we did. And so I remember my friend and I, she's my best friend at the time, and we had to perform it in front of the class.
How'd it go?
Ours was great. We got an A. We got an A.
Nice.
But it was just so much fun. We did it together. We had about maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so to work on it.
Everything?
It was so much fun.
You know, there's
There's got to be video.
Oh,
somewhere.
yes.
I need to find it, but it's such a fun way to learn.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
That's what I was about to say, is that for me, when I had to memorize things in school, even in college, I would sing it to memorize it, because that would always help get it in my brain for some reason.
I think saying it out loud for sure. Nobody wants to hear me sing, but saying it out loud has worked for me. Now, I will say that at one point in time, Eric Chilton rapped the weather.
I did the entire weather one night as a rap.
You got 10 seconds before we go to break.
I gotta have it rehearsed.
Okay.
I actually had it in the prompter because I was like, I can't do this without having it written down. But that was fun.
We're gonna find a YouTube video for you.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm gonna look for my 6th grade.
Please do. Please do.
So
All
many
right, we'll be right
memories.
back.
I know, right? Mic check 1 2 3. 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 And someone.
back to the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here with Sydney Moore and Tammy Rivera,
And
Ferguson. All here with
Yep, welcome to your 4 to 5. Amanda, I'm glad you're here with us, but I hear you have some sad news.
Yeah, some tough news to bring you. Not only did the Panthers lose last night, but just this afternoon we learned one of Carolina's top defenders is out for the season. Shaq Thompson was carted off the field late in the first quarter after a Saints tackle landed on his leg during the play. Initially, he was ruled out of the game with an ankle injury. Today, head coach Frank Reich announced Thompson has a broken right leg and is expected to miss the rest of the season. He underwent surgery this morning to fix a fractured fibula. The news is tough for the Panthers defense, which lost starting cornerback J.C. Horn to a hamstring injury last week. Horn is expected to miss at least 6 weeks. Reich did not say who will fill Shaq's role, but they've got a game coming up on Sunday against Seattle.
When I saw him go down, I just thought that could be, because the defense did pretty well. You know, the offense I don't think did what we wanted to do, but the defense did well, and now you're losing. Is Burns back? He's not even back, is he?
He's back, yeah,
Brian
he's
Burns
back, he's back.
Okay.
But
Anyway,
he was
it's tough.
even on the sidelines kind of limping, so we had to figure out what's going on with him too.
It's going to be sad. And for me, like for a lot of Panthers fans, I know it's only the second game, but you can't help but go, here we go again.
Right, because we had such high expectations. Everything was going to be new. Everything was going to be different.
And healthy players.
Well, and let's say this, everything is new, so it may take time. Frank Reich knew, Bryce Young, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it may take some time, but I'm impatient.
So, right. Let's just not panic.
That's right. No need to panic yet. It's early on. All right, let's talk about the forecast. Nothing to panic with there. We are beautiful for a stretch of days here as we see temperatures really staying fairly fall-like. You know, I mean, we're in the upper 70s to right at 80 degrees, not only today, but possibly for the next 2 days in a row with no rain and lots of sunshine. Short-term forecast looking really good. You can see that on the satellite and radar, the lack of anything around us, cloud cover or rain. In fact, when we zoom out, you have to go down to really southern Florida to see any rain, or all the way back toward Dallas. Big ridge of high pressure that dominates our forecast for the next couple of days. It does shift a little bit to the east, but we're still under that dome of high pressure for a day or two. Now watch bottom right corner of your screen. There's a developing coastal low. There's still a lot of questions with this because it hasn't even developed yet. We think it'll develop around Friday. And then whether that will affect us on Saturday or Sunday remains to be seen. However, since it looks like it's definitely going to form, we're just not sure which path it'll take yet, and that could bring rain to us on Saturday, Sunday, so we'll keep our rain chances at a 40 to 50% chance for those 2 days. Just a quick look as we look out into the Atlantic. That is Nigel. It is moving to the north and will move away from the United States altogether. So our forecast, if you look at the next 7 days, not too bad really. Looking at overnight lows tonight in the mid 50s. Highs next 2 days, 80 even with sunshine. 76 Friday. Rain chances, as we mentioned, slipping back in for Saturday, Sunday. That's a 50 to 40% with a high of only 70 as we go into Saturday, and 74 Sunday. Mid 70s for Monday, Tuesday.
Eric, thank you. From the war in Ukraine to climate change, President Biden laid out his foreign policy platform in front of world leaders this morning at the United Nations General Assembly. Ukraine's embattled president also made his first visit to the conference since the start of Russia's invasion. CBS's Michael George reports.
Help take on the challenges of their time.
President Biden called out Russia's war with Ukraine as a blatant violation of the UN Charter as he addressed the United Nations General Assembly Tuesday.
If you allow Ukraine to be carved up, is the independence of any nation secure? I'd respectfully suggest the answer is no.
The president also outlined the United States' vision to solve other global challenges, including climate change.
My administration, the United States, has treated this crisis as an existential threat from the moment we took office.
Unusual this year, President Biden is the only leader from the 5 nations with permanent seats on the powerful UN Security Council to address the assembly. The heads of China, Russia, France, and Britain all decided to skip the event this year.
President of Ukraine.
Their absence comes as Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky made his first in-person visit to the global gathering since Russia's invasion began. He warned the aggression won't end with Ukraine.
Let unity decide everything openly. While Russia is pushing the world to the final war, Ukraine is doing everything to ensure that after Russian aggression, no one in the world will dare to attack any nation.
Zelensky is set to visit the White House and Capitol Hill later this week as Congress weighs Biden's request for an additional $24 billion in aid for Ukraine.
And while in New York, President Biden will also meet with the Prime Minister of Israel, whose government he has slammed as extreme.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. The United Auto Workers president announced a new Friday deadline in the strike that the union is waging against the 3 automakers. In a video posted on social media, he says if the automakers have not made substantial progress towards what he calls a fair agreement, the UAW will call on more members to join the walkout. The UAW is currently seeking a 36% raise over 4 years, as well as job and cost of living protections.
Generac is recalling some of its portable generators. The Wisconsin-based company says its fuel tank can fail to vent adequately and cause fuel to leak when open, posing fire and burn hazards. Generac says people who own the recalled generators should immediately stop using them and contact the company for a free repair kit.
Clorox products may soon be hard to find on the shelves. The company says a cyber attack last month is delaying operations. Now their products are in short supply. They're working to return to normal operations by next week.
You may have seen the viral claim saying kids behave worse when their moms are around, but it's based on a study out of the University of Washington. The answer is more complicated than you think. Let's verify.
The headline is bold, claiming children behave 800% worse in the presence of their mother. It says the reason is pheromones and cites a Dr. K.P. Leibowitz from the University of Washington's psychology department. The claim has gotten intense reaction from parents. But is it true? Let's verify. Our sources are the University of Washington Psychology Department, the Wayback Machine, an internet archive, and Samantha Speed, a licensed professional counselor who works with children. Speed says the claim, although it sounds good, is not true.
First of all, the researcher didn't exist. And second of all, the data was nowhere to be seen.
The University of Washington confirms that. In a statement to 11 Alive, the psychology department said, "We do not know the origin or author of the document. We do know there is no Dr. K.P. Leibowitz at the University of Washington in any of our current or historical databases." The satirical study has popped up in social media posts, websites, blogs, even a news site in Africa. All of them source this website, Mom News Daily. The website, based out of India, circles back to the fake study. Emails to the website creators have gone unanswered. Even though all the data is fake, Samantha says there is some truth to the claim.
Children often act out or behave in certain ways like this when they're around their primary caregivers, mainly because they feel a sense of safety and security.
She says it could be a dad, a grandparent, a nanny, or another caregiver, anyone with whom the child feels safe to show their emotions.
You're telling me this is really a good thing?
Yes.
So we can verify, no, children are not 800% worse when their moms are in the room, but they do tend to show their big feelings to the people they feel most comfortable.
See, that's the way it was in my house. My mother was more the disciplinarian, but we were with her a lot more with Dad working. And so Dad was pretty easy, but if he did get mad, you better watch out. And that was, you didn't know like how far, I knew how far to push Mom. Wasn't
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Mom the disciplinarian, Dad the one that was easy. But again, like you said, if Dad said Tanya Monica, that was it.
Ooh.
Like whatever he said after that, I was doing.
Yeah, the same exact story with my mom and dad. My dad was a lot more calm, but when he got mad, it was get out of his way.
Did he two-name you?
He did not.
Okay.
He really did. I think it was more of just his facial expression
Like
and
you
his
knew.
tone. Yeah.
My dad would snap his finger. He was like 6'3" and had big hands, and he would snap his fingers and sound like a whip. He was like, as soon as you saw that, he'd point to you straight and right up.
Right, yeah.
Funny story, my sister, this is before I was born because my other brother and sister are so much older than me. But my sister one time smarted off to Dad when she was a teenager. He said something and started to leave the room, and she said, "What did you say?"
Oh,
and
no.
they said he turned around and she went, "Sir."
What did you say, sir?
Sir. And
Oh
she
my
backed
goodness.
right down.
Yeah.
So funny. All right, so I asked you on Facebook to tell me about the disciplinarian in your house growing up. These answers were great. Ashley said, Mama, because I knew when I heard that belt drawer open up. Dawn says, my grandma Little, she was fierce. Grandpa was more laid back. However, when he spoke, you knew to listen. Larry says, my dad, every Sunday coming home from church, my twin brother would get me in trouble with a whipping waiting at home. Becky says, my mother, because dad was away from home a lot, she had a rubber fly swatter that she wore out the fringes on. And then Helen said, my mother, even my father would tell, she says, my mother was a disciplinarian. Even my father would say, you better not talk back to her.
Yeah, one thing about my mom, she was gonna take that phone. The phone, whatever it was that we liked, she was taking it and she was gonna keep it down in the parents' room. She was quick to take things.
Was it for me, and I'm asking if you guys had the same thing, it was way worse when my dad would say, I'm disappointed in you
for sure.
than to spanking
to
or
be
anything
mad
else.
or anything like that. Yeah, the disappointment thing is what wrecks you.
It does.
For sure. Yeah, you never want to disappoint your parents,
No.
or at least I didn't. And I'm an only, so right.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's different depending on what your pecking order is, right?
Or we taught you better than that. It's just
Oh,
that
yeah.
calm voice when
Awful,
they talk. Yeah,
for sure.
And the car ride is just so quiet.
Quiet.
And they sometimes glance at you in the rear view mirror
just to make sure you're really getting it.
You know, it's like wow.
You see those two eyes? You're like, oh no. All right, we're coming back in a minute.
All right, this right here is a piece of North Carolina history. I want you to take a good look at it. What or who does the flag belong to?
Blackbeard.
Yes.
That's what I'd have
Yes,
to guess.
it is Blackbeard. He flew the famous flag. The pirate ravaged ships off of North Carolina coast in the early 1700s, and at one time made Bath, North Carolina, his home. Yes.
Edward Teach.
That is
They
right.
called him, yes.
All right, now I want to direct your vision to this in the back here. Okay, so Blackbeard and his fellow pirates, I know, with the cow, are why the East Carolina University Pirates adopted the pirate as the mascot.
Petey. They call him Petey the
Oh, okay,
pirate.
Petey the pirate.
I only know that because my kid goes there now. He just transferred.
Gotcha. Do you know why there's a Tar Heel for UNC?
I do.
Okay.
Am I taking away your next part of your
No,
story?
go ahead and say it.
All right. So when I was a freshman, they made all of us, we got a story about it because apparently when Carolina went to the national championship in '82, a CBS News person went around and said, what's a Tar Heel? And the students, they got like 7 different answers. So the university said, you have to know this. So it was a battle, I think in Civil War days, and they had called some troops up from North Carolina to Virginia to help out. And they said North Carolina back then was a big maker of tar and pitch, which was made ships with.
Right.
And so they said those North Carolina boys fought like they had tar on their heels, like they stuck and didn't run
Tar
away.
heels.
So it was a battle, a war battle.
All right, so then hence the mascot. All right, so all of this pirate stuff is on my mind because today is Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arr! Which is ridiculous and
I don't
fun.
even know how.
So
all at the
fun.
same time. You know, no pirate-ishy words.
But I don't know how to talk like a pirate. I mean, it's easy, but I don't really,
Can't think
But I did dress like a pirate for Halloween one year back, like back in high school. I did dress.
I like
a
the pirate eye chart. And they go,
Well, I thought this was a great opportunity to ask our coworkers their favorite pirate jokes. And oh yes, full-on dad jokes, just in the pirate genre. We leave you with these.
What's a pirate's favorite letter? Arr.
What's a pirate's favorite part of a song?
I don't know what.
The hook.
What's a pirate's favorite fast food?
I don't know what.
Arby's.
What's a pirate's favorite letter?
I don't know what.
It's the C.
What's a pirate's favorite place to party?
I don't know where.
The nightclub, so they can shake their booty.
It's time to connect the dots. Cereal was once the most popular breakfast food in the country, and now it's been declining in popularity for some time. And now to keep up, some of the companies behind your favorite brands are having to change course.
Cereal companies are now marketing to meet the tastes of consumers, just to stay afloat. Let's connect the dots. In the 1980s and 90s, cereal ruled the breakfast table. But most cereals are pretty much two things: carbs and sugar. So, as consumer tastes began to change, folks began leaning more towards high-protein foods like eggs to start their day. So now cereal companies are trying to get creative as they look to get back in pantries across the country. Kellogg, one of the most iconic breakfast brands out there, is changing course. It plans to spin off its cereal division into an entirely new company called WK Kellogg. They say this will allow the company to focus on more profitable brands like Pringles and Cheez-Its, while keeping people's favorite cereal brands alive. And that is connecting the dots.
Do you have cereal in your house?
About 10 boxes.
Okay.
My wife is
You have
obsessed
two young
with it.
kids, okay.
I have Frosted Flakes. That's all I usually eat is Frosted Flakes. But just kind of like this story, it used to be something that we would eat all the time. And sometimes I don't eat it as much as I used to, but I do eat boiled eggs a lot for breakfast as well.
Yeah,
now
I can't
too.
tell you the last time I had a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Just don't,
I don't really do that very often.
Has been years, years.
Yeah, me too.
And the last time I had a bowl of cereal was not for breakfast. It was as dessert because I love me some Lucky Charms.
Yeah, those
for dessert?
For dessert.
I like that.
Interesting.
I like
So
that.
what's your go-to breakfast?
Oh, it's usually an egg, or yogurt, blueberries, almonds. That's what it is. That's what it's been the last 2 months. I get in a rut and I eat the same thing every day.
I do that too, and then I'll change and stay on something else for a while.
I like toasted strudels as well too. I eat toasted strudels.
If I had my way, it'd be eggs and bacon every morning, but I just can't do that. But you know, I know. I digress.
Let's talk about the weather.
Let's do that. It's good. For the next couple days, our biggest question mark is the weekend. Unfortunately, it's kind of ironic. You look at our long-range forecast, which we'll show you in a second, and the only days with rain are on the weekend and on either day on either side of it. So until then, we're in pretty good shape. You'll see clear skies tonight. In fact, we'll go into the 60s by 9 p.m. with overnight lows in the mid-50s. So that'll be your morning temperature tomorrow when you head out. You're seeing nothing on the satellite and radar combo, and that's because of a high pressure ridge. It clears us out. It's going to keep doing that for a while. Here's what it looks like. With the high starting to shift to the east a little bit, it's still close enough to us that it controls the forecast. So let's keep it clear. Lots of sunshine for the next couple of days. High temperatures should top out between about 77 and 80, depending on where you live, north to south in the Triad. And then if you look off the coast here, there's a low pressure center that is forecast to develop. Now think about this, our mathematical models that help us predict weather patterns and where things are moving and how strong they'll be. Hard to predict what something will do when it's not even on the map yet. This will develop, we think, around Thursday, late in the day, definitely into Friday for us. It should affect us for Saturday and Sunday and bring those rain chances up. That is not this one, by the way. This is Hurricane Nigel that stays out into the Atlantic, so we don't have to worry about that. So 7-day forecast showing 80 degrees and sunshine for the next 2 days. We've got a 20% chance of a shower Friday. That's not really the story. It's really this weekend. It's a 40 to 50% chance for Saturday, Sunday, 70 on Saturday, 74 Sunday, and mid to upper 70s for the beginning of next week.
Now, one goal for these recommended reparations is to invest. Testing. Here on Washington Street, there used to be more than 50 Black-owned businesses spread across 9 blocks.
Yep, 10-9876 by 4321 10-9876.
Hey, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
Even when they crumble. Hey there, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. We're talking cookies. Best cookies ever. It's got to be the plain chocolate chip.
Ever. Sugar cookies, I like sugar cookies. Oatmeal raisin, I'm a big fan of those.
I like in the green.
Mic check, 1 2 3 3 2 1 1 2 3 3 2 1. Mic check, mic check.
Hey there, it's time for My 2 Cents, and today I'm talking about special places that mean something to us from our childhood and even through today and into generations. In particular, this picture that I took over the weekend when I took my son, my 13-year-old son, number 3 of 4, to Myrtle Beach. We were at the Family Fun Center. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's on the main strip there, not far from where the Pavilion and the Magic Attic used to be, places that meant something to me from my childhood, even through my teenage years. But I love taking my kids here. Not only do they have great video games, and it is basically an old school arcade, but the fact that I can take my son and my kids to the same place that I went to as a kid. That Fun Plaza, or Family Fun Center as it was called, brings back so many memories of me and my dad and mom taking me there when I was just little, like 6 or 7 or 8 years old. To share that place with him, and really I've done this with all my kids, means so much to me. To see those same neon signs and the same games in some cases is amazing for me. It's when your life comes full circle. So I would say to you, if you have an opportunity to take your kids back to places that meant something to you when you were little and let them share in that magic as well, that's a bond that they will understand as they get older, and it will mean even more to them when they have kids of their own. Share those memories and pass it down. But that's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
New at 5 o'clock, a second Triad school district is now dealing with a mold outbreak.
Guilford County Schools discovered the fungus inside the media center at Southern Elementary. It's the first report of mold in the district this school year. GCS leaders say the problem is confined to one area